5, 4, 3, 2.
Yugi Bros! In this video, we're going to talk about a theme that always gets thrown to the wayside, a theme that just never really comes up in the clutch, unfortunately, and that is unfortunate because it's everyone's favorite theme. You guessed it, folks, it's Toons! I find it funny, actually. This hand's almost accurate to speed duels. Yes, we don't have Monster Born, and we hopefully will never get Ring of Destruction, but I digress. I just thought this was a funny little extra. I want you guys to know that the support we have for Toons is pretty abysmal. I'm going to go through this list and just name off the atrocious options that we have. Manga Rairan, Toon Alligator, which shouldn't even be on this list, Toon Buster Blader, Toon Barrel Dragon, Toon Defense, Toon Mask, that one's okay. Toon Mask Sorcerer, Toon Mermaid, Toon Summon Skull, Toon Rollback, Toon Table of Contents, which is good, Toon Gemini Elf, which is good, Toon Dark Magician, which is good, but good luck getting it out, and Mimicat, which, it's good, but you have to have both Toon World and a Toon Monster to use it, so good luck there. And now let me name all the things in speed duels that destroy spell or traps. Amazoness Sage, Attack the Moon, Cosmic Cyclone, Breaker the Magical Warrior, Dice Foon, Double Cyclone, Dust Tornado, Night Beam if they're hitting a face down one, Nobleman of Extermination, same deal. If it's face up, Twister, Stamping Destruction, if you want to negate it, Teuton Mask, Champion's Vigilance, Judgment of Anubis. I can keep going. There are so many things in speed duels that destroy spell or traps, and for your entire deck to revolve around Toon World, guys, that's just not happening in speed duels. So the first card I'm going to suggest, and guys, if you want Toons to be anything competitive, we need Toon Kingdom. Yes, I said it. I understand this card is quote-unquote newish. Toons need this, alright? This is a field spell that says when this card is activated, banish 3 cards from the top of your deck face down. Now it's a little riskier in speed because your deck is 20 to 30 cards. You might want to play more than 20 cards to make this thing relevant. This card's name becomes Toon World while it's in the field zone. Your opponent cannot target Toon monsters you control with card effects. If a Toon monsters you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish 1 card from the top of your deck face down for each of those monsters instead. So like I said, you're going to want to probably play 30 cards in this deck because you're going to keep banishing cards from the top of your deck face down to protect your Toons. But it's Toon World while it's on the field. Your opponent can't target your Toons with card effects, so that rules out a slew of options that your opponent would normally have against you. And it protects your Toon monsters from battle or card effects. So even, if they just go and try to attack over it, you can protect it by banishing a card face down from the top of your deck. If they go to destroy with a card effect, same deal. So even if they have destruction that doesn't target, you can still protect them. The only one thing this doesn't do is protect itself, and its other downside is that it's a field spell, so the skill Toon Mayhem that protects each Toon World in your spawn trap zone from being destroyed once per turn doesn't apply here because it's in the field zone, not the spell and trap zone. I'm really hating that they even did that. They should have just said Toon World on your field can't be destroyed once per turn, or can't leave the field once per turn. That would have been cool. But no, the skill unfortunately has to have that downside. But aside from that, Toon Kingdom is exactly what Toons need to stay on the field. And in addition, the fact that you don't pay 1,000 life points just to drop this to the board is fantastic. 4,000 life points in speed duels, guys. You want to pay 1/4 of that to activate Toon World? That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. Toon World has no effect. It's just on the field to make it so that your other Toon monsters, the newer Toon monsters, can attack directly, and the older Toon monsters can't even be summoned unless you have Toon World. But we're still not fixing the main problem, which is If they get rid of this, all your tunes go bye-bye. So let's fix that, shall we? Enter Toon Terror. This is a counter trap that says when a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated while you control both Toon World and a Toon monster or monsters, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy the card. You can only activate one Toon Terror per turn. This is, I think, the only thing Toons really have with Toon in its name that outright just protects your cards, but this can protect against anything. And like I said, I know that these are newer cards for Toons, but Toons have already been kind of like thrown to the wayside. You need to give them powerful, insane cards to even contend with everything else that's going on in Speed Duels right now. And I mean, the biggest problem to Toons is that you are paying life points for half of the cards, a lot of the older cards. You only have 4,000 life, and it's really hard to fit non-Toon related cards in a Toon deck if you want to make Toons relevant. Like if you're throwing too many non-Toon related cards in, it kind of offsets your deck, and you know, you gotta play with what you got. So let's give them the powerhouses. Not everything, but this is a perfect card. You can only play one a turn, but it does negate literally anything as long as you have both Toon World and a Toon monster. And it gives the deck the defense it's kind of always wanted. Like, you can negate that annoying card that would destroy the Toon World or anything else that is being problematic to your field, and just deal with it outright through this card. So I definitely think Toon Terror would be a huge addition to Toons in Speed Duels. Speaking of powerhouses, my number 3 option is Toon Cyber Dragon. If your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. Cannot attack the turn it was summoned. While you control Toon World and your opponent controls no Toon monsters, this card can attack your opponent's life points directly. This is a level 5 Light Machine Toon effect, 21 attack, 1600 defense. This deck needs high attack points, and we only really have that in Toon Gemini Elf, so let's throw in another big beefy beat stick, so to speak, for the deck that can be summoned for free if your opponent controls a monster and you control none. It can't attack the turn, but that's Toons in a nutshell. However, I think this would also just be generically good in regular Speed Duels as it is. I think Cyber Dragon, I don't know if Cyber Dragon's too good for Speed Duels as of yet, but why not throw in a Cyber Dragon that has a downside of not being able to attack the same turn it's summoned. So this would help a lot of things. Obviously, I think it's best in Toons, but 2100 beat stick, yeah, can't attack that turn it's summoned? Fine. You can sit on this for a turn, and your opponent won't be able to kill over it depending on what they're playing for one turn of waiting. So nice little beat stick for the deck. Add a little more consistency. Stop playing the really weak Toons, and go on to having some more beat sticks. But if you are going to play a weak Toon, I would suggest this one. Toon Harpie Lady. Level 4 Wind Wing Beast Toon effect, 13 attack, 1400 defense. Cannot attack the turn it is summoned. If you control Toon World, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then, if you control another Toon monster, you can destroy one spell or trap your opponent controls. So this deck gets an MST-like effect through this card, and at the same time it special summons itself, which is nice, so you don't have to waste your normal summon. You can only use the effect of Toon Harpie Lady once per turn, and then while you control Toon World, obviously, and your opponent controls no Toon monsters, it can attack directly. Something cool to note is that the destruction of the spell or trap card does not target. So anything that protects itself from targeting, no, you can just destroy a spell or trap on the field, on your opponent's field, free of targeting. In addition, I do really like this card because even though its attack and defense aren't that great, the special summon is very, very nice. So you don't have to waste your normal, as I've said before. And just being able to have this destruction effect in your Toon cards, like, this is what Toons need. Like I said before, you need less cards that aren't Toon related cards in your deck, and more Toon related cards, but you also need those generic effects like destroying monsters, destroying spell or traps, and this is the way that we are going to destroy spell and traps, with Toon Harpie Lady. So I really like that this card does that, gives the deck a little bit of an extra boost, and definitely makes this card worth playing for sure. Now, I'm sure a lot of you want my number 1 to be Toon BLS, but I don't think that much commitment is actually good for speed yet. Honestly, I don't think Toons would be able to summon that as much as you'd want to depending on where you draw it, of course. I'd actually like a much less committed card, and that is Comic Hand. We had Mimicat already, Mimicat needing both Toon World and a Toon Monster to be on the field. Comic Hand only needs a Toon World. This is an equip spell that says, if you control Toon World, equip to an opponent's monster. Take control of it. It is treated as a Toon Monster. If your opponent controls no Toon Monsters, it can attack your opponent directly. If Toon World is not on the field, destroy this card. So the reason I really like this, and the reason I think this has a lot less commitment, is you can top deck this, and as long as your opponent has a monster, you can take their card. Like, assuming you have Toon World, of course, but the thing is, like, this way you're not super reliant on your own monsters. You can actually spot removal, so to speak, your opponent's monster by taking control of it, and then having it be treated as a Toon, which is extra crazy, especially because whatever you take with this can immediately attack directly, assuming your opponent has no Toon Monsters, because it's treating it as a Toon and giving it that ability. So I think not only taking, like, let's say your opponent has a Jinzo and something, a lesser monster, you take the Jinzo, and the Jinzo can either now attack over that other monster your opponent had, or just attack directly. That's really good, and that's a huge swing. But obviously you need Toon World to make this card work, so this card can't be abused in anything else. It's only going to get abused in Toons, but it gives Toons this kind of recovery play where if you don't have a monster on the field, no worries, you can take your opponent's monster, or if you do, this can be your, like, game ender, so to speak. I don't think this is overpowered. I think Toons definitely could use something like this, and like I said, it takes almost zero commitment. Toon BLS requires you to tribute from your hand or field Toon monsters whose total levels equal 8 or more. And that's just not really a good top deck in Toons. Like, you can't just top deck that if you have nothing else in your hand and nothing on your field and drop it on the field. It's just going to be a dead card. While the card is very powerful, and I get that that could be a downside, and that's why I could probably come to Speed Duels, I don't want to rely super heavy in Toons, at least in Speed Duels, on having multiple cards to do a combo. Toons already have the drawbacks of can attack on the turn they're summoned, or need Toon World on the field, or blah blah blah. Like, I want everything to be like a one card combo. So Comic Hand to me is definitely that one card combo that can throw you back into the swing of things without having to rely on too much extra outside of obviously having the Toon World to do your play. The only big downside here with this card, obviously, is if Toon World is not in the field, you destroy this card. So you have to keep in mind that if it's destroyed, the control of the card goes back to the opponent. So make sure your Toon World is very heavily protected if you're taking your opponent's card, so they don't get it back at an ill-opportune time, so to speak. As far as my honorable mentions go for this video, I did want to bring up Toon Ancient Gear Golem. It's just like regular Ancient Gear Golem, but it's a Toon. If this box ends up being GX themed, I think it's appropriate that this comes over, as well as Toon Cyber Dragon, because they're both GX cards. But the only reason I bring up Toon Ancient Gear Golem is because it comes alongside my actual honorable mention, which is Toon Page Flip. This is a quick play spell that says if you control Toon World, you reveal 3 Toon monsters with different names from your deck. Your opponent randomly picks one of them for you to special summon, ignoring its summoning conditions. Also shuffle the rest back into the deck, and then you can only activate one of this per turn. The point to this is you get out the essentially the boss Toon monsters. And ignoring summoning conditions means you actually could drop the BLS Toon if you really wanted to. Again, I think that card's a bit too strong for Speed Duels right now, but Toon Ancient Gear Golem would be a perfect card to select off of this, since you are choosing 3 with different names. We obviously, like I've said before, have Buster Blader, Barrel Dragon, and Dark Magician as your big Toon monsters, but realistically, I don't want to play Buster Blader. I barely want to play the Toon Barrel Dragon. The Toon Dark Magician by itself just has a good effect. I would rather drop or select, so to speak, Toon Ancient Gear Golem, Toon Dark Magician, and maybe Toon Red Eyes. I think this card actually would also be a great addition to Speed Duels, but I don't want to add big level Toon monsters to the game. We already have too many of those as it is, unless we get cards like Toon Page Flip that can let you summon these straight to the field. Toon Mask does let you also summon big Toons from your deck, but you have to target a monster your opponent controls with a level, and then summon one from your deck with a level equal to or less than the monster, so it all depends on the opponent's deck. So it's like a side deck option at that point, and you don't want to waste your side deck on Toon Masks plus you know, multiple big Toon monsters depending on what your matchup is. Unless, I guess, there's a tier 0 format and you just know for a fact someone's going to be playing like a Blue Eyes and you use it on that. But even then, I just feel like that's a waste of a side deck, a 6-card side deck. So, like I said, I don't want to bring these big level Toon monsters to the game unless we get more cards like this. But I don't know if Toon Page Flip plus big leveled Toon monsters would be too much for speed. I don't think it would, because you could brick with the big level Toons. But I don't know. That's for the comment section down below. Guys, let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are on these suggestions for Toons. Comment, like, and subscribe as always. And, you know, wait till the end of the video.